In a world where QR codes kill kittens and customer service is an oxymoron, one podcast has set out to make things right. This is the UnPodcast with your hosts, Scott Stratten and Allison Kramer.
If you think 7 listeners is high, you should see our number of viewers of the YouTube videos. That's at 3.
Woo!
And if you're watching right now, you'll notice we're moving on up.
I know, we have comfy
Literally
chairs.
moving up onto a stage because although this is episode 198, for episode 200 and 201, The Aftermath, we're having a live studio audience, doubling up what we had for the 100th show, at least RSVPs. You know, it's the only time I get anxious in my life.
You do. You're right.
Yeah.
You do get anxious about, if people are going to show up for something.
Show up. Yeah. It's like, I think it's all because of my 11th birthday party where nobody showed up.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm just kidding. I paid people. They came. They still showed. But it's from the music industry days, right? Of managing bands and booking Lee's Palace and the Opera House. And then the only thing the people who ran the club cared about was who showed up. Doesn't matter the set. Doesn't matter how good you played. It's people. And I was on the hook for that.
So last night, Tessa and I went to go see Katy Perry, right?
Yeah,
big, famous pop star.
An up-and-coming
and it was
singer.
Interesting because she actually said from stage, she kind of, when they take a little break and she wasn't singing and she was talking to the audience. And the thing that she said was that she actually didn't think anyone was going to show up. She said that. And I don't know if she meant it, but she said it.
Yeah.
She said that she figured the day after Halloween, everyone would be nursing their candy comas. And she didn't think after a night out where people usually go out and go to parties or whatever, that people would show up. And she said, thank you so much, all of you, for showing up. And I was like, I guess maybe it doesn't matter how many tickets you sell. Even with the tickets, it's about getting the person to actually act on the ticket and show up.
Yeah.
Even when you're super famous and
Imposter Syndrome doesn't go away.
No, I guess not. I was surprised that she said that.
You eclipse 6 listeners to 7. You still don't lose that feeling. And I think, I was on stage last week to 800 people, no problem. But today, in an hour and a half from now, I'm wondering if 20 people are going to be here.
I think, though, partially, when you speak at an event that someone else is organizing, you kind of pass that anxiety along to them. I think a lot of what we see when we're at conferences and the organizer will have event planner face that you call it, where they're stressed and they're running around trying to make sure everything.
But it's smiling on the outside.
That's right.
Murder on the inside.
But I think some of that has to be, are we going to get people in seats? Yeah. It has to be, because it's always.
That's why I'll never ever do a public event again. Back from the.
Oh, that's right, where you have to be the draw, right?
I did that once, and there was 11 people. So.
Oh, sweet pea.
Oh, thanks. On with the show.
Speaking of imposter syndrome.
Speaking of imposters, welcome to the show. Let's just jump right in here. This is from onecountry.com. We'd never used this site before, but that's awesome. There's people are roasting the Food Network's brilliant peanut butter hack, and it's hilarious. So I have an issue with the term hack. Unless you're breaking into the mainframe of some financial institution or something like that. It's just the word hack has been, unless you're Angelina Jolie and you're trying to overthrow a company. Movie Hackers, right? So thank you.
You're welcome.
And
wonderful pop reference.
Thank you. But I have to explain it.
It's just been very overused, right? It tends to be a word that's used in those
life hack. Set your alarm.
Those fake, what do you call it, where you put the headline so that it traps you into clicking? Clickbait, that's right. It tends to be used in clickbait headlines, hack.
It's not a hack, yeah. So people say my Facebook was hacked. No, you gave your password to somebody. That's what you did. You weren't hacked. There was no somebody in Norway in their basement trying to figure out whether or not they wanted your dog pictures. It's just that you did that. You got phished.
Norway, eh?
Yeah, Norway. Oh, huge. Have you seen Hackers? I'm the only one I've ever only seen Hackers. What's going on here?
You know what? I haven't seen Hackers. Maybe tonight we have to watch.
Born Supremacy? Whole room of Hackers.
Seen that's Norway?
Yeah.
I didn't know Norway was so famous for its hackers.
Or the Ukraine. Are they the same place? I have no idea.
Next week, geography.
All right. So, when it comes to the basics of cooking, I think we can all agree that peanut butter sandwiches are about as basic as you can get. In fact, I think a peanut butter and banana sandwich was the first meal I ever made myself as a child. With that in mind, you wouldn't think you'd need any sort of food hack of spreading peanut butter onto your sandwiches, right? Me either, but apparently Food Network has a different opinion. They recently posted a video to their Facebook page titled Brilliant Peanut Butter Hack. But the video didn't exactly come across as helpful to viewers. In fact, it turned out to be a source of pure entertainment. The hack, with quotes, is that you can take a sheet of parchment paper and spread peanut butter in an even layer. Then you cover it with another sheet of parchment paper, roll it out thin with a rolling pin, and freeze it until it's solid. Then, once it's frozen, you take it out and cut it into squares. Then you take those squares and separate them with more parchment paper and freeze them again. As you can imagine, people were quick to know that this was in fact a lot more work than simply spreading peanut butter onto your bread. But the Food Network's point is, quote, there's this whole convenience thing with sandwiches, little slices of meat, slices of cheese, and pickle slices. Why aren't there peanut butter slices? Of course, people were relentless with their roasting of this hack, and what follows was arguably the best use of Facebook comments ever. Here's a couple of the highlights of the comments. Dave Swanson says, my wife and I have talked about having kids for years, but our decision against starting a family always came down to the tedium of spreading peanut butter and not ripping the bread. Neither of us had success, so we felt our home wasn't a place for children. Thank you, Food Network. I'm going to be a dad. Another one was... I hate all the prep work of cooking, all that time it takes to fill your pot with water so you can cook your pasta. Now, I boil my water in advance, put it in an ice cream bucket, throw it in the freezer, and anytime I need boiled water, I grab it, wait for it to thaw, pour it into a pot, and boil it again. It saves absolutely no time, but by creating this hack, I feel like I have knowledge in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
I love this. And one person is like, who actually... where's this one? What crazy... So in the video, they have like peanut butter and honey and chocolate sprinkles on it afterwards. And somebody says, what crazy parent is feeding their kid an open-faced peanut butter, honey, and chocolate sprinkles sandwich? And the reply was, she was worried about a mess with the peanut butter. That's why they froze it. And then gave an open-faced honey sandwich to a 3-year-old. Like, that's... How bananas is that? I love it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It reminds me of the favorite part of unmarketing is when I claim my love for peanut butter and cheddar cheese sandwiches.
Very strange, though.
People still mention that.
Yeah, very strange.
When you find a peanut cheddar brother or sister out there, we bond quickly.
Have you ever met a peanut butter and cheddar?
That's one of the main things I get back from the book. It's on Twitter.
That they also love that ridiculous sandwich?
Not a lot of people.
Well, we had
we're a tight group.
On branding, one of the chapters is about Clint Greenleaf, who founded Home Run. Is it Home Run?
Plate peanut
Home
butter.
Plate peanut butter, and he has peanut butter in like little plastic, like little tubes, like this idea that you could take it with you, right, and eat it. And one of the things we talked about was that we put it in the freezer, and then you could eat it frozen, which would be really tasty, but not as a hack. Like that might be.
Not as a
I think that is the
hack.
Worst use of the word hack that I've seen.
It's up there. We should have a hack of the week eventually.
Totally. We should have a hack of the week.
You got it.
I have a story from theguardian.com. It says, PhotoBucket's shock hosting fee is holding web users ransom. For the past 10 years, I've been using the photo sharing website PhotoBucket to host the pictures featured on my 3 blogs. In June, PhotoBucket deleted all the photos and said that I and millions of other users would have to pay £400 a year to release them. I'd happily pay a reasonable sum, but this is extortion. So they took the photos off of everybody's website that have been using them for years and said that you can't have your pictures back unless you pay this amount. It says one solution would be to download my photo library, but PhotoBucket has said a bug makes it impossible for users to do so.
A bug.
Right?
Right.
I'm not out of pocket, but the blogs represent 10 years of work. So just imagine that you spend all this time building your platform and then they steal your pictures off.
Whose site is this?
This is from The Guardian.
Oh, so it's somebody writing on The Guardian.
Yeah, this is someone writing to The Guardian. So it says, PhotoBucket, which claims to have 100 million users, allows photos uploaded onto its site to be embedded on multiple third-party websites. Yeah. Until this summer, the service used by thousands of Amazon and eBay sellers for free was funded only by advertising revenue. The U.S.-based company says it informed its users by email 30 days before about the new charge. And then it says that some customers who didn't get that email or didn't see the notifications on social media, their images were just gone.
So you have this. I don't agree with what they did. You have this challenge for photo hosting services. There's a huge need for them. You have Imager, which was made popular with Reddit, and you have a place where the problem with a photo hosting service is most photos are embedded. So eBay sellers, Amazon sellers, blog posts. So nobody is ever going to PhotoBucket to go view the photo. Nobody's ever going to Imager, although Imager has worked on upvotes and stuff and comments on Imager itself.
Yeah.
So advertising revenue for these photo hosting sites is almost non-existent because nobody is going to the site itself. The image is just being served up on these third-party sites. The problem is, you eventually, like anybody's learned in the internet era world, is users are great, but eventually you have to monetize or you close. That's just how this world works. And the problem being is, let's look for a crowd first and figure it out later. There's no good way to do this. You could say, well, premium users can get this, and then free users can get that, and that's most places do that, right? It's the freemium, if I may use a made up word, type of thing, where the majority of the paid ones pay for everybody else. So the options for this is you could host 5 photos with us for free.
Yeah.
And if you want to plan, it's X amount a month. And obviously, it's very, anybody can come up with this advice, but it would have been, we grandfather it all in, the existing, but anything new, you have to go to these new plans. If you've been using a service and it's been using it well, and it's worked really well for you, a lot of people don't mind paying. By a lot, I mean 10%. But that's enough to bring an ongoing revenue. The problem is how they did this. Now it's just pay or nothing, buy or goodbye for them. And that, PhotoBucket's popularity is because they were a free image hosting service, and that's what they sold themselves on. And I never knock somebody for needing to make money. It's a business. It's what they're here for, except when your entire user base is then destroyed by doing something like that.
Well, it seems like it's just bad planning.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
You're probably right. I think they thought, we're going to grow this, and we'll use advertising revenue to make money.
Yeah.
And then they realized, I don't know, 10 years is a long time, but they realized at a certain point that they weren't making enough money doing advertising, and that they were providing this service which people should pay for. If the service is what you're selling and you can't make money in another way with advertising, then I have no problem with it. It just seems like because they didn't plan for it, and because then they use such a heavy-handed way of, and people feel very, like, it's very hard to tell someone that they don't own their pictures. Like, the idea that they've taken somebody else's, because they don't own the photos, so they've taken something away from people that I think people feel like they have a right to see and post whenever they want to. And it sounds like the communication was just terrible because
I'm guessing they do own the photos. I'm guessing in their term of service it says we own them. It's like Facebook saying that we own all your content. Most content you put up on the internet you don't own, or you share the rights to, and that's what I think. What happened with Photobucket here is that they either got acquired or bought.
Oh,
and
yeah,
people
it's
are
possible.
like, here, we now need
or
to...
they just realized it wasn't working. Like, they tried advertising and it wasn't working, and they have a right to make money.
It's weird, though, to happen now because it's been 10 years. Bandwidth, transfer bandwidth, the amount of it takes to send a photo now is a fraction of what it used to be.
Yeah. With
cloud-based services at AWS and everything out there, there's a huge amount of space and cost has been, greatly reduced. So it is...
The timing is strange.
Awfully that. Whose phone's ringing?
Oh, Adam. Episode 198.
Well, he almost made it to 200.
Wah, wah.
The video's going black now. We're going audio only just because of that phone call. How did you let that happen? I don't understand. You have the biggest crew you've ever had here, and off it goes. This is what he does, just so you know. He plays nice. And then he does that.
Adam's just lost a day now.
Yeah, I'm probably people listening couldn't even hear the phone ring. We pointed it out.
They couldn't hear it ring.
Right. Okay.
What you got over there?
Well, oh, me. Sorry, I thought you were talking to Adam.
No.
It's the Adam Show now. So, can Forrester empower consumers with its Tap app? This is from the website Without BS, but it's not BS. It's the full word. Forrester Research, who's this gentleman's former employer, has released a consumer app called Tap. The essence is simple. Tell the world what businesses are doing wrong, and they'll listen and fix it. It's a crowded app world out there, but if this one catches on, it could make a difference. I'm going to read a better part here. It's very simple. There's 3 simple buttons, red, yellow, and green, like we have up on the screen here. That's actually from the app. It's even easier than star ratings. What does 2 stars mean anyways? Your only choice on Tap is to rate a business or brand as good, problematic, or bad. You rate the place you are. When you're at Dunkin' Donuts, pull up Tap and it knows where you are. Just tap and rate it. It's the same for any business. Then you ask you to say something. You have to add some kind of text to indicate what's wrong or great. So you're not saying like United Airlines is bad. It's that their Wi-Fi was slow.
And you add that in on top of the button?
I guess an open field,
Okay.
a comment thing. You can join a mob. If you see a complaint and agree with it, you can join
good.
forces
Do
with
they call
whoever
it a
said
mob?
When 5 or more people do that, it becomes a mob.
Oh, geez.
It's easy for anyone else rating the business to join. And then you can tie it into social media. You can post your taps to Facebook. You can also see what taps your friends are. Right now, it's only launched in the Boston area. There's an issue of lack of monetization, but I'm sure they can figure that one out.
Do you think that something like this is like, is it different than what we already have in reviews? How's it different?
Because it's a lower barrier to review.
Okay.
It's just, here's your 3 buttons, then add something. I find it interesting. I think I actually liked it. That's why I picked the story. It was just like,
they have it in stores now, eh? Have you seen that in
I've
stores?
seen it in Walmart. They
Bathrooms, too.
Yeah, 5 faces.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but pressing a button in a bathroom
You don't like that?
Yeah, I know how many people don't wash their hands.
Well, and also we've removed contact from, like, you don't have to touch the tap anymore. You just put your hands under. You don't have to touch the paper thing. You just wave your hand and paper comes out. But now we've added a button.
Yeah, but if you want to get a raging case of gonorrhea, just tap was that too much?
Yeah, gonorrhea is too much. You went way over the line.
Say
Plus, I don't think you know how gonorrhea works.
I was going to say gingivitis, but then I realized that's with your teeth. And if you get that in the bathroom, we got a whole nother issue, right?
Jeez.
I say pink eye.
Conjunctivitis.
Pink
Conjunctivitis. That's what I was going to say.
Conjunctivitis.
Thank you. Not
Pink eye.
gonorrhea. Allison. Please, there's children in the recording room. Gingivitis.
And so I'm still a little bit confused about, is this something that then the companies put on their sites?
I think you enable the app.
Okay.
It tells you where you are, and it knows by cross-referencing with Foursquare's data, which is still a robust data. I think it's huge. Remember, we read something about that that's where they make their money.
Yeah.
And I think it just says, you're at this business now, review it, 1, 2, 3. You pick one of the buttons.
And then you can add the details if you want to, but you don't have to.
I think you do have to say something.
And it only takes 5 people to start a mob. That seems low. Yeah. I feel like if they really think it's going to penetrate, like if people are really going to have this on their phones, you need more than 5 people. 5 people is not a lot of people. We only have 5 listeners and we're not going anywhere. So
7 now.
I hear.
We have a mob listening to us.
Do you think anyone that comes to our live taping next week is going to have that app?
I don't want anybody reviewing our stuff. We want you to review everything else, not our books, not our show. I didn't ask you.
See, my problem with this is that when we talk about reviews, and we talk about them a lot, we talk about that, what they're making easier for people, leaving out the details, leaving out the who you are and all this kind of stuff. That's what I think makes reviews better. If you're going to leave a review, I want somebody to think about it and take the time and really leave the review. And I think that's important. So I'm concerned about this because I don't like the mob thing. That's a bad tone to set. And I think that it takes away the kind of stuff that makes the reviews more real. Like anyone can do this. You can just.
I've always wanted the good one where, and some places are doing it now, where you leave a review on the POS.
Yeah.
Right there. How was your experience? And how is that? And getting that instead of one of the problems with TripAdvisor, Yelp, Amazon is you only get the extremes.
Yeah.
People only are irate. They're like, I'm going to Yelp, right? And there's so much to be gotten out of the middle, not the ecstatic, not the furious, but the middle that you can learn from. That why wasn't it ecstatic? That's the audience I want to move in my business if I had one.
They're moderately okay.
Yeah. Why was it fine?
If I had one.
Right. Well, thank you for grabbing that, Allison, everybody. But why was it okay? Because remember we talked about 2 weeks ago what the F word is in business, and it's fine.
Yeah.
How is everything? Fine. Right. Ask one of the kids in the recording room now. Right. Ask Aiden.
They probably have headphones.
How school is? Aiden would say fine.
Ooh, a creaky door.
School is fine.
School is
fine. Right. It's the F word.
Yeah.
It's the let me get out of this conversation response.
Yeah.
And that with your customers is deadly. Because that means they are open to competition. They don't tell their friends. Word of mouth doesn't happen when it's fine, and that's where we need to move from business from fine to.
But you only find that out
right?
in details. You don't find it out by people pushing the yellow button.
No. But that's what I mean. So that's why they said with the buttons you have to put at least an explanation of why you gave it that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a tease. Like it's so easy to press a button, but now you got to explain.
But actually, you got to work a little bit.
I do want access to the middle. I want to find out why. And was it product, service? Was it speed? What was it? If I want to improve. I honestly think most businesses don't want to know this. I mean, we've always said that, right?
Yeah.
I think most businesses don't want to hear from their customers.
No, they want to hear ecstatic. They have to hear super duper angry. And they don't want to hear the
rest. They just want you to buy the frickin' product or the service. And because they think they know better than you. And a lot of times they do. But They don't want that feedback. We don't want continuous improvement because improvement means change, and they have to do something. And improvement means somebody has to admit they weren't right a lot of the times. And that's a whole nother
Always
ball of
tough.
wax. Yeah, for sure.
So I have something here from NewYorkMagazine.com. It says why Facebook is terrifying publishers with a new test. It says, over the weekend, a journalist at the Slovak news publisher Denik N revealed that Facebook is experimenting with a new format and product that's not yet available to a wider international audience. The new design segments Facebook's main interface and primary tool of information conveyance, the infamous algorithm-sorted newsfeed you see when you log in, into two different feeds, the newsfeed. Under this, so it's going to separate into two separate feeds, and it says the purpose of it. They're separating it into the news feed and then something called Explore, and it says Explore. It says it's not the primary purpose of Explore which is just the test, and it shows popular posts that the system thinks you might like from pages and publishers that you don't follow directly. So isn't it just like a things you might like?
This is trouble for brands and brand pages. So it's saying you're taking any brand out of your newsfeed that you like, and ones you haven't liked yet.
That they're taking them out of the newsfeed and putting them into this Explore.
Yeah.
And it's based on your search history?
Oh, it's based on who you've liked and then your preferences and all the data.
But you don't have to be already following them, it says.
No, but the ones you are following would be moved over to that as well. So in your own timeline, the only thing you'd see was friends updates and sponsored posts from the brands.
Wow.
But here's the thing.
So that just means more people have to do sponsored posts to make it into your newsfeed.
Now, here's the thing. This is not North America. This is happening in, I think, 8
No, it
different
says
countries.
Slovakia, Sri Lanka, Serbia, Bolivia, Guatemala, and Cambodia,
Yeah. They're testing it out with those places.
who
Now-
use Facebook a lot.
And they said this is not happening in North America currently.
It says the test has sent publishers into a frenzy.
Huge.
For most digital outlets, traffic from Facebook represents anywhere from a quarter to half of their total.
Yep.
A major drop in interactions and reach would have wide-ranging consequences for an industry that already operates on very thin margins. But as a user,
Facebook has one priority. One is to make sure they stay relevant with their users, that the content you are seeing is relevant. Now, Facebook's priority obviously is making money, but their priority,
relevance.
their entire user base, which is almost at, by the way, 2 billion daily users, not active users, daily. We're almost at 2 billion. That makes my brain explode, that number alone. They have to stay relevant. So what the main complaints have been was I'm seeing too many brand posts, both sponsored and the ones I've liked. And people are complaining about seeing brand posts from brands they've liked, which is a self-created
which
problem.
is what I want to talk about with you, because what I'm thinking is that like brands have spent the last, I don't know how long, I don't know how many years to say, but the last while trying to get likes, right? You enter into a contest, you get a like.
Yeah.
You get 10% off, you get
Right.
all these things. And so now those likes become not valuable anymore.
But how many years have we been saying this? When you build your house on rented land,
Yeah.
you have to pay the rent.
And also saying that a like isn't worth anything because it might have been worth something when you got it, but they can change the rules and now the like is hardly worth anything at all. Now you're in the same. If anyone clicks on, I don't know how they're doing it, like in terms of mechanically, like if it's a different tab or like if you're ever even going to see it. But let's say it's a different tab. So you go to the top of Facebook, you change where you're looking and you're going to see all these posts. Now you're mixed in with, could be competition. It could be other brands that are doing things like how, and are those people going to pay to get more relevance on that? Like that's going to be like a second layer of a sponsored post where you're going to get more relevance. The likes that you've just spent the last 10 years, 5 years building now are worthless.
The social media industry is in peril.
That's crazy.
But
as a user, I'm like, yes, I won't have to see all that.
Of course, and that's what they care about. That they know businesses will pay as much as they need to. People are freaking out. You can't get reach without paying. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a business. We were talking about a photo bucket.
Yeah.
Facebook needs it. We visited their campus in the summer, right? They got to pay for the free lunches and the giant rooftop gardens, and like and they're making an incredible amount of money, and they've done it well. And the only thing that matters to that is relevance. Relevance.
I think
if I log in and look at it and say, why would I care about this? I'm not logging back in.
I think too, in terms of like the way it works as a user, is I never go back and look at all the pages I've liked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it's not like every day when you check in, they're like, you go through it or something and say, do I still want to see something from a product? I liked their Facebook page 10 years ago. Like do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you've liked all of these things and it's old. Like you don't really like it. I mean, what does it even mean?
Yeah, and that's the problem.
It's not relevant
What's
to you
your
anymore.
goal? Yeah, what's the goal with it too? If you're a content company, then Facebook is even more important to you because, a company like Tasty Made Videos is like, a couple billion views in per month with what they get. That's Facebook driven.
Yeah.
Right? So that's Facebook driven, and then we're screwed. But if you're a business, what it's value, like for us coming up on the 200th episode, we put the notice out for it, and the 80 tickets were snatched up. And that was through our Facebook group.
Yeah.
So there was a relevance there. I could target the ad to people in the Southern Ontario area, which is what I did. But for us to think that we run a business, we should be able to profit off the platform we build, but the platform we built it on is not allowed to profit from us is ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. How long have I been freaking out about this, right? I did a Blog World, a keynote years ago.
For a long
I'm
time.
Like, you can't complain about that. It goes both ways. You've used their platform, and now you pay. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That rhymed. I'm sorry. There you go. So, I finally see something that I would want to use augmented reality for, which is very cool. This is from Recode. Amazon's new 3D features augmented reality that people might actually use. It says augmented reality is one of the tech buzzwords of the day, but how many of the current use cases are anything more than gimmicky? But here's a good one. Amazon on Wednesday unveiled the new augmented reality feature in its iOS shopping app that shows customers a 3D rendering of how a given product will look in their home or workspace before they order it. Called AR View, the feature is activated by clicking on the camera icon in the Amazon app and then selecting from thousands of products across categories like furniture, kitchenware, and home decor. You would think customers will eventually have the option to select AR View from an individual product page as Amazon builds its catalog. The feature, built in using Apple's ARKit technology, which is fairly new, is clearly in its infancy. The virtual products were a bit jumpy on my phone's screen, and the picture definition and coloring won't have you confusing the images for a real thing.
It's cool though. Like if you want to buy a chair or something, you can look through your iPhone and then see how the chair would look in a certain part of your house, or how a vase would look somewhere. It's cool.
And one of the things about is dimensions, right? Will something fit?
Yeah, it's cool.
So it follows similar launches from other retailers like IKEA, Wayfair, and House, but none of these sport the U.S. most popular shopping app for iOS like Amazon does. So
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's not new.
It's handy.
It's not certainly not new. Other places have done it, but this is the biggest impact one, combining iOS, with iPhones with the Amazon app. It's interesting. I think it's pretty neat. So there's your function. AR, VR, and that whole world of, what's it going to do, and it's changing everything. The answer is it will not.
Yeah, but this is a nice little thing.
This is a cool, and with Amazon's the iPhone X or 10 or whatever you want to call it, not 9, is that it has that capabilities in it as well. So there's fun functions to it and stuff. I don't see us using it in everyday life or anything anytime soon, but that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of it.
For sure.
I have a question of the week for you. Would you like to hear a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is funny. I'm not sure. You may know who sent this to you. It's not really a question of the week.
Wait, do we have the question of the week music? Where is it? Yeah! Lotto! Coming in strong with the music. We have a competing producer here today. My man, AT.
Can throw
Aiden
something
Taylor
together.
Music could have been throwing us a little jangle together. If you want to hook that up there, Aiden, make it happen.
He's currently busy.
Oh, he's busy?
He's
All right,
busy.
well, I need some smooth beats soon.
So
Make
this
it happen.
is a question. I think one of our friends sent us this from an email that he received. That is what I think this is. I'm going to read it, and then I want you to give me the context for it, okay?
Yeah.
So it's a question that was received in an email. It says, I'm writing to follow up on the emails I sent regarding your website. I'm in the process of closing files for the month. Typically, when someone doesn't respond, it means you are either busy or not interested. If you aren't interested, do I have permission to close your file? So really, this isn't a question for us. It's just a question, and we're going to answer it We're going to answer this person on behalf of everyone everywhere.
I have a vein that comes out of my neck when I get furious, and I got furious when I received this. So this was somebody spamming me.
Yeah.
about I run an over 30 fat guy softball league here in Burlington, Ontario, and they've been hounding me. It's a platform to put your league up on, and he's been hounding me. I've been ignoring it, and then he sent this: a permission to close your file. The file I never opened nor requested. And so I did a reply to. I gotta find the.
Did you reply to him?
I did, and it was.
I've received these. Like, it's strange. We haven't heard from you. Maybe you haven't.
Oh,
maybe you haven't been receiving our emails, or I know you're very busy. I just wanted to. I'm like, stop. I got the email. I get all the emails.
Oh, it's killing me.
And if you really believed I wasn't getting your emails, would you continue to email me? Like, is that really what you would do? Because
so we have a buddy of ours, Rob Cottingham. Because I posted about it on Facebook, and he gave me a response, and I sent it to him. So I said, "Can you please explain the implications of closing my file? I want to make an informed decision here, and I sense from your tone that the stakes couldn't be higher." That was my reply. And he wrote back and said, "Nothing to worry about here, Scott. I just want to check. Here's all of our features of our thing."
Oh,
and I wrote back, I'm
God.
like, dude, I was kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is a strategy. This is taught.
brutal.
Hootsuite has a post on their blog about using this. This is a strategy, the close your file email for non-responsive leads.
We hate you.
We hate you and everything you stand for. Almost as much as I hate somebody writing an email pitching us something, a cold email, a spam, and the subject line says "re." Right? It looks like
like we've already been talking.
We're going back and forth. I'm like, you are horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Horrible people.
Speaking of horrible.
Made up word?
Yeah.
Don't make any sense. Don't mean no offense. It brings laziness. What is all this craziness?
Every week we have a made-up word submitted by you, one of the 7 that wants to tell us a word you see.
This one's pretty easy.
Yeah, you run across and
It's
you say,
easy.
hey, this word is made up. Let's send it to Scott and Alice, and if we pick your word, you get a choice of any of our books. You just let us know. But the key is we ain't telling you we've used it. You got to tell us.
So I think this is really easy,
Yeah.
but I like the word and I think it's a good thing. And I basically am doing it because the person who sent us in has a fantastic name and I want to say
All
his
right.
name. So the made up word is Dadvocate.
Dadvocate. Wayne?
Dadvocate.
Wayne's already laughing.
Yeah. I'm Dad Advocate. I don't
Dad
know.
advocate, yeah.
I mean,
we're not even going to ask
obviously, but
anybody
I don't
else.
know
Yeah,
why.
It's Dad advocate.
It is Dad Advocate, and it was sent in by Jamie R. Manship.
Yes.
His last name is Manship.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fantastic.
straight out of
That
Game
is
of
a great
Thrones.
last
That's
name.
out of Game of Thrones.
Straight out of Game of Thrones, and the fact that Mr. Manship sent in Dadvocate is
Yeah.
double fantastic.
Either that or it's like, Anchorman.
That's true. Oh, like West Mantooth? Yeah.
So there you go, Dadvocate, an individual that supports, encourages, and promotes the importance of a father figure's role in the development of a child. But it could be also any kind of dad who's advocating on any manner of different causes, Dadvocate. So thank you, Mr. Manship, for sending that in to us. I appreciate it, and I really love your name.
Oh, and my phone's binging up.
And I
Sorry.
mean, theoretically, Jamie could be a woman, so maybe I shouldn't assume, because I did that one time a few episodes ago. I assumed that someone's name that they were, I mixed it up.
It's true.
Whoops. Boopsie daisy.
All right.
Thank you,
Coming to
guys.
you next week, episode 199.
I think we're going to make it.
See ya.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and visit theunpodcast.com. And remember, friends don't let friends use QR codes.